It's the curious case of the missing billionaires from China. The mysterious disappearance of a Chinese tech mogul for weeks has now begun to raise global concerns. Shen Xiaoji is the founder and CEO of Chinese live streaming site Douyu. He has not been seen since October, and industry insiders believe it is related to suspected gambling during a live stream on his platform. This comes after the government launched an investigation into the illegal contents of his live streaming application. Meanwhile, another executive who has been referred to as China's Warren Buffett, Zhao Bingxian, has been detained by the Chinese authorities. The curious shrouding of Chinese billionaires has been in vogue since Alibaba's boss Jack Ma's disappearance for over 3 months in the year 2020. In February, one of China's most high-profile billionaire bankers was reported missing by his firm, and China Renaissance Holdings later confirmed to the market that Bao Fan was assisting authorities with an investigation. He's a renowned tech industry dealmaker. He has not been seen publicly since. While much is being speculated about these disappearances, there seems one common link in them all: the veiled involvement of the Chinese government. Several of China's leading financiers and business people have fallen from grace in recent years, with an intense crackdown on alleged corruption pushed by President Xi Jinping showing no sign of abating. Meanwhile, authorities continue to comb through the multiple cases against the two business giants. Let's try and get in a sense of perspective in terms of what these disappearances mean, and is that also impacting the Chinese economy? And for that, let me introduce my guest today. I'm joined in by Andy Kaiser, who's the former senior advisor to the House Intel Committee. Many thanks to you, Andy, for joining in. Now, I know today we are just talking about Douyu CEO Chen Xiaoji, even Zhao Bingxian, who's the chairman of China Capital Investment, but the list is endless, even includes Jack Ma. And of course, the burning question remains, why do these Chinese moguls keep vanishing?
That's exactly right. I think it speaks to President Xi Jinping's desire to crack down both more on the economic front, but also the political front. So you have this undoing of China's past sort of diffusion of power, where you had a turnover in the presidency, for example, every 5 years. Xi Jinping has undone all of those rules. He has declared himself president for life. That 5-year term is tossed aside. So I think the disappearances, the crackdown on the economy are all related to this consolidation of power, the likes of which we haven't seen since Chairman Mao in the 1970s.
It's interesting that you mentioned Chairman Mao, which is why I want to ask you, from the late 1970s, China has pursued Deng Xiaoping's roadmap to achieving Mao Zedong's goal of common prosperity, as they called it. Is the billionaire crackdown China's way of achieving that common prosperity goal?
I think it actually, that may be the stated intention. I think the end result will probably be the opposite, right? So a lot of those reforms you mentioned led to this explosive economic growth, certainly unparalleled, in that a big part of that was due to this openness, due to some imposition of capitalism, capitalist ideals. And the more that is squeezed, the more closed the society begins, the more opaque, the more these disappearances. I do think businesses around the world, even internally in China, will see a potential risk in doing business there, and they may take their business elsewhere, where they're less likely to be disappeared, less likely to have their assets seized, or to have the Chinese military or intelligence service or security services knock on their door unannounced.
It's very interesting you mentioned that, because, Andy, such a crackdown on tech billionaires is bound to impact the tech firms too. Could such a crackdown also be a potential factor in how it's impacting China's economy?
Absolutely. I think, they're sort of maybe cutting their nose to despite their face, where they're hurting their own intentions with these actions. I do think it could limit future investment. I think it could stifle economic growth and innovation inside of China. I think it could lead to, and you're already seeing this, some of these tech leaders or giants or their families fleeing China for a place that might be safer for their future and their interests.